hit me no more. Let's go. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. Hey, hey, hey.
Imagine being just 14 years old and moving in with one of the biggest names in the music industry, Diddy. Everyone assumed that it was the ultimate mentorship, a chance for Usher to reach superstar status under Diddy's guidance. But behind closed doors, things took a shocking turn. Diddy allegedly had a very different agenda, and what happened next led Usher straight to the hospital. And trust me, the reason why this happened will leave you speechless. So without wasting any time, let's dive right into it. With everything going on with Diddy, a lot more about his past has been coming out. And this time, his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, is the one doing the talking. Recently, Gene made a statement about Diddy putting Usher in a hospital. But this wasn't the first time Gene said that Diddy sent Usher to the hospital. The last time Gene spoke about it was after Usher did an interview on Club Shay Shay. During the interview, Usher spoke positively about Diddy and how Diddy's flavor camp shaped who he became. But at the same time, he also admitted that he would never send his child to Diddy's flavor camp. And this raised a lot of eyebrows and brought up questions about what happened at Diddy's flavor camp. The questions kept on piling up after Gene decided to put the entire interview on blast by saying that Diddy had put Usher in a hospital when he was younger and was living with Diddy. And he didn't mean that Diddy just took Usher to the hospital when he was sick. No, he meant that Diddy was the reason behind Usher getting admitted. But after he said that, Gene didn't give any more details or context to the story, at least not at the time. Instead, he said that Usher should be the one to talk about it since he was just recently singing Diddy praises. It didn't make any sense that he was still on Team Diddy, even though Diddy had done something so horrible that would put him in a hospital. Since then, Usher hasn't made any comments about what put him in the hospital. But he also hasn't denied that Diddy was the reason behind his stay at the hospital. Since it didn't look like Usher was going to say anything on the matter, Gene gave some more details about how Usher landed in the hospital. According to Gene, the reason why Usher was in the hospital was because he was bleeding from his behind. If you know what I mean. Now, I don't know about you, but given everything we've heard about Diddy and his relationship with Usher, it's hard not to wonder why Usher was bleeding from there. At the time this incident happened, Gene wasn't working with Diddy anymore, so he didn't know the exact cause. In fact, he didn't even realize that Usher was the one rushed to the hospital, despite knowing that Usher was living with Diddy. Gene only pieced it together once he overheard a top music executive discussing it. The conversation started with them talking about how much they disliked Diddy and working with anyone associated with him. That's when the talk shifted to why Usher ended up in the hospital and how Diddy was involved. But this revelation left even more questions unanswered, especially since Usher was still a minor at the time. And it's not every day that a child shows up at the hospital with unexplained bleeding from his behind. And yet, no one reported it. There had to be some signs of what caused the bleeding, right? So how come it's only just getting out decades later that Usher was in the hospital for something like this? Now again, your guess is as good as mine. But a lot of people are saying that Diddy must have paid off a lot of people for this incident to have stayed under wraps, either at the hospital to make sure that everything was hushed, or going as far as paying off the cops to make sure that no one knew what was going on. But the fact that there was no report wasn't the only question mark that was raised about Usher's time in the hospital. Some people started asking about Usher's family. I mean, it's not like Usher was orphaned while he was with Diddy, so why did his family not do anything about it then? Even when it got as bad as Usher being hospitalized, no one heard anything from them. And it wasn't until decades later that Usher's mom, Janetta Patton, called out Diddy for what he did to her son. Now, a lot of people were wondering if she knew what was going on between Diddy and Usher while it was still going on, or if she found out much later. And from the looks of things, when it first started, Janetta had no clue what was going on with Usher. That was because right around the time that Usher turned 14, Janetta sent him to Diddy's flavor camp to help push his music career in the right direction. Diddy was in New York City while Janetta lived in Atlanta, so the plan was that Usher would move in with Diddy while he attended the flavor camp. Back then, it seemed like a good idea. In Janetta's own words, it was a business decision. L.A. Reid had just signed Usher, but Usher wasn't ready for the life his voice was about to give him. So, L.A. introduced Janetta and Usher to Diddy. Diddy was supposed to help Usher get accustomed to life as a superstar and also train him to control the fame and everything that comes with it. Which sounds like a good thing in theory, but that wasn't how it went down. Instead, what happened was that Diddy allegedly took advantage of Usher in many ways, and it landed Usher in the hospital. Crazy enough, that wasn't the only time Usher was taken to the hospital because of Diddy. It's practically public knowledge by now that Usher has an STD, but What we don't know is how he got it. However, the rumor mill has been buzzing a lot recently, and it claims that Diddy was the person who gave Usher the STD. And it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Usher stayed with Diddy for years, and with all the information that has come to light, it could be that something inappropriate happened between them. And let's not forget that there have been multiple cases against Diddy, suing him for knowingly infecting others with the STD. It's easy to see how Diddy could have spread the disease, considering all the news that is coming out about the freak-offs he frequently hosted. The same freak-offs that he's been hosting ever since Usher was living with him. So who's to say that Usher didn't get his alleged STD from Diddy during one of those parties? After all, Usher admitted that a lot of things he experienced living with Diddy weren't things he was supposed to be exposed to, especially as a child. Like Usher going clubbing with Diddy when he was just 15 years old, and to make things worse, Diddy also indulged him in some underage drinking. A lot went down during Usher's time with Diddy, so much so that when asked if he'd ever send his own son to Diddy's infamous flavor camp, Usher couldn't have said no fast enough. So it's pretty clear that Usher knows that something wasn't right. He's even hinted at writing a book about his experiences growing up under Diddy's wing, although he never said when that might happen. But now that Diddy's empire seems to be crumbling, the question is, will Usher finally break his silence and reveal what really went on? Or will he choose to stay on the sidelines and watch it all unfold? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.